very honored to have with us now here on Montana Talks a retired United States ambassador. She's now with America First Policy Institute, Ambassador Carla Sands. Ambassador, great to have you on the show this morning. Thanks for being with us.
Oh my gosh, Aaron, I'm so happy to talk to you. Good morning.
Yeah, well, I'd love to get your views on some of the foreign policy fiasco that's going on under this current administration, but let's start with the topic at hand, thanks to our friends at Fox News Radio. Your reactions to this big Senate candidate debate out in Pennsylvania. You had Fetterman versus Dr. Oz. What's your reaction to this debate yesterday?
Yes, I watched every minute of it, and here's what we learned from the radical John Fetterman, the Democrat candidate. He is so damaged by this stroke he had back in May that he should be home recovering. It's unconscionable that the Democrat Party would think it's okay to send someone to the Senate who can't process speech or speak clearly to represent us. But he's so radical that he has stood for decriminalizing all drugs. He's stood by over and over banning fracking, which we desperately need in America. He has promoted open borders to be a sanctuary state, and he's actually to the left of Bernie Sanders. So he's really out of step and out of touch with Pennsylvanians.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're seeing the same thing here in Montana where, you Democrats could get elected in Montana, but they at least had to pretend to be moderate, right? They had to pretend to be moderate on guns. They had to pretend to be moderate on environmental issues, and they're not even faking it anymore. We've got Democrat candidates in both the Eastern and the Western District for Congress here that are radical environmentalists. But I know you kind of cover energy policy for America First Policy Institute. What about Fetterman last night trying to now claim that, oh no, he supports fracking, Mongo-like fracking, even when he himself came out very clearly in support of a moratorium on fracking?
He did, and he has done that over and over again. This is a man who wants to ban fracking, and he is so dangerous because if he is elected to the Senate, he would work to ban it at the federal level. And we know that is one of the reasons that we thrive as Americans and why we're cleaning up our air is our beautiful, domestic, powerful, clean natural gas industry. And we can see what's happening in Europe right now where they actually are about to have a starvation for energy and heat. In Europe, in Italy, they're turning off the heat in every person's home at night because of relying on Russia and saying we're going to rely on renewables and Russia. So we need domestic energy independence and dominance again. And it's going to bring down the cost of everything because every American is suffering from inflation. Electing Republicans to Congress and to the Senate is going to help bring down the inflation, bring down the cost of gas at the pump, the cost of groceries and daycare, because it is because of the out-of-control spending that the Democrats have been doing and their anti-American energy policies that are causing the cost of everything to go up. And, Dr. Oz is a doctor who spent his time healing Americans. He's going to support policies that are going to relieve the pressure on all American working-class families and help small businesses grow and get our country back on track.
Yeah, and we've got, Republican candidates back here in Montana, Congressman Rosendale and former Congressman and former Trump Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke in the West who are going to work to do just that, make it American energy dominant once again. You were U.S. ambassador to Denmark. So when you talk about when you talk about the pain that the Europeans are feeling already and how much worse it could become this winter, you worked with our friends in Europe very closely as ambassador to Denmark.
I did. I worked to promote American natural gas in Europe and warned them about not being reliant on Russian gas. And in fact, my team and I, working with the Trump White House, blocked that Russian gas pipeline, Nord Stream 2, and we saw what the radical Joe Biden did where he killed Keystone XL Pipeline on day one of his administration, killed 11,000 good jobs, and almost as much energy per day would have flown through that pipeline as he's releasing from our strategic reserves, which is an election year ploy. He should not be releasing our energy from our strategic reserves. That's for disasters. and not for elections, even though they're going to get a shellacking. And I think if every Republican goes to the polls and votes on November 8th, and every person that's concerned about our kids' education, about closing the border and stopping this assault of fentanyl on our young people, and believe that we should have a government that has our backs and protects us and doesn't promote defunding the police, that we will take back the Senate and we will certainly have a strong majority in the Congress.
Well, we know fracking and we know the Keystone Pipeline very well here in Montana, because hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling really took off here in the Bakken oil fields in Montana and North Dakota. And then, of course, the Keystone Pipeline would have first entered the United States here in Montana. Ambassador Sands, if you have to run, please let me know if you have to run on to another interview, but because I'll take, I'd be happy to take a couple more minutes of your time if you have it available here. Do you have a couple more minutes?
You know what? I can talk to you for a few more minutes. Yes,
Perfect.
For me to hold?
Yeah. Well, no, we can keep rolling here. I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't preventing you from making your next hit time with Fox News or anything like that. The reason why I say that is because I just got a phone call yesterday. I got a message from one of our listeners in the Phillips County, Montana area, and they're working on the Keystone Pipeline right now. They're taking the pipeline that was already laid in the ground out of the ground. He said he had a truck in front of him right now as we were speaking yesterday. To me, it's just shameful. But I was listening to MSNBC this morning, and they were whining about the Russians not increasing oil output. And I'm like, you morons, we can increase American oil output, but you guys are sitting here lecturing, the Saudis about not increasing oil output. I was like, the broader political commentary here is the Biden administration has pushed the Saudis into the arms of the Chinese. They pushed the Saudis into the arms of the Russians. We've burned enough bridges, and yet they're going to now go burn another one, is what it looks like to me.
You are so right. It's devastating to me to hear that they're pulling that Keystone XL pipeline out of the ground. We know that pipelines are the cleanest way to transport our energy, our fuels. And we also know that fossil fuels are harvested cleaner here in the United States than anywhere else in the world. I heard that the Biden administration may begin talks with Venezuela about bringing Venezuelan energy here rather than harvesting it here in the United States. And that is 7 times dirtier, that energy, than how we process it here, because we have regulations. And if we would harvest our energy and lay the pipes and build the refineries, we will be energy independent and energy dominant once again, and then we can sell some of our energy to Europe so they don't have to have energy starvation or be looking to Iran or other bad actors for their energy. And in fact, we are like the Saudi Arabia and Russia combined right here in the United States. Between the Bakken and the Marcellus and the Utica Shale, we just in Pennsylvania alone, not even including your state, we have enough energy under our feet to power the entire United States cleanly for over 300 years.
Wow.
I like that green energy transition. I love American energy, and it's how we're thriving and how we have economic prosperity.